Yo, welcome to the show where the energy's flown. It's your boy dropping heat. This is the Ozone. Step into the arena where legends are made. From the courts to the fields, watch the highlights played. Football, hoops, baseball, it's all fair game. If it's sports, we bring the fire, put respect on the name. Stats and debates, we break it all down. From the rookies to the GOATs who wear the crown. No halftime, all grind, we're setting the tone. It's prime time, baby, you're in the Ozone. Yo, it's passion, precision, the plays we dissect. From the underdogs, grinding to the Hall of Fame vets. This is more than a podcast, it's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right, welcome to the Ozone.
You have entered the Ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go. You guys are here. You have officially entered the Ozone. As you can tell, I'm not that excited. It was rough. It was tough. But it was fun. We've seen things that we haven't seen in 25 years. And we got to talk about it because this is what we're going to do here in the Ozone. So as you know, as you all guys know, the Knicks lost to the Indiana Pacers. But there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to get into. Yankees are getting smacked around by the Dodgers. And the Mets are doing what we're doing. What I set them to do. Get fat and prey on the weak. And we got a jam-packed quick hit segment. But I can't not get into all this. What up, my co-host, super producer Dave? Brother, it's a new week. How are we feeling?
You know, I want to say I am upset. And the Knicks definitely got me down. But I'm going to say exactly what needs to be said. And we're going to get into the Knicks right away, right after this. But the Knicks got what they deserved. The way that they played, the way that they got what they deserved.
Yeah, let's get into it, guys. Our very last This Week in Knicks for the year.
This week in Knicks.
All right, y'all. This Week in Knicks playoff edition. As we said, as I touched on in opening, the Knicks lose to the Indiana Pacers. They fall 4-2 as the Knicks plans to make the championship, to make the NBA Finals fall short. Obviously, guys, from the last time we were with you, the Knicks had just won Game 3, so much has happened in between. But unfortunately, the Knicks did fall short over the weekend. And there's a lot to be said, brother. You said the Knicks deserve this. So I'll let you take the floor right now and kind of elaborate on what you're talking about.
Okay, if you've been watching this series, everyone has said it, and it is true. The Knicks deserve this loss because of what they did in Game 1. You had a 17-point game lead. You decided to let your foot off the pedal, and you gave them a chance to come back. Now, I don't care about any of the Pacers' antics, anything that they've done. That doesn't matter at this point because at the end of the day, this is a wash. If you want to compare it to the Reggie Miller thing, at least the Knicks won that series.
Right.
So, you put yourself in a bad position. You lost at home, and you forced it to them having to finish it at home. There were so many things that are wrong here, and we can dissect that as we go along, and I know that Omar's going to do a better job at it than I can, but I will say the things that I saw. Coaching adjustments were horrible, and if you're one of the people who are in the camp of firing Coach Tibbs, I can't blame you, because a lot of things were gone wrong when it comes to the coaching aspect. But you also got to blame the players. All those turnovers costing us points, because that's the problem as well. They were turning the ball over, costing us points. Couldn't adjust to the fast breaks. They were killing us on the fast breaks. Effort wasn't there. And it's one of those things that, like, from Game 1, you deserve what you got. I don't want them to lose, but you deserve what you got if you play with that effort.
No, yeah. I think you nailed it on the head. It's the most frustrating thing. And we'll talk Game 6. I think, honestly, unfortunately, Game 5 was, the Knicks played really well in Game 5. So that it doesn't matter at this point. The series is done. Yeah, I think the turnovers was insane. And you look at the turnovers right now, the Knicks had 17, and it's just the points off the turnovers was, I believe Indiana had about 25 points off turnovers. They shot really well from the three. They shot 17 of 33, 51%. They shot 54% from the field. The Knicks didn't have it at the three-point line. Shot 9 of 32. They missed 9 free throws, 17 and 26. That's something that, we mentioned in the first game. They missed their free throws. But I think you're absolutely right, brother. Like, what it boils down to is game one. You let game one go, and obviously, that just changed the whole entire series. And you don't like to think that one game can have such a big effect on a series, but a game like that, how they lost game one, can affect how the series plays. And the Knicks just truly never bounced back from it. Especially in Game 6, it looked very similar to Game 4. Especially in the second half where the Knicks were just sped up. I'll give major props to Indiana. Indiana sped up the Knicks. This is why we've seen so many turnovers. The Knicks are not a high turnover team. They never been this whole season. But Indiana sped them up. Indiana forced them to play fast. And that's what it was. Because even Jalen Brunson, and as much as I love Jalen Brunson, and there will be no Jalen Brunson slander on this show. I know I can speak for Dave when I say that. However, we got to hold players accountable. Jalen Brunson was dribbling a lot into traffic, and I get it. That's his play. That's how he can draw fouls. However, he was not getting those calls, and I just felt that Brunson was playing to their hand on Saturday. Nembhard was getting away with basically phone boothing him. A lot of grabbing. It was a lot of hand checking, and at some points it was very frustrating because it's in front of the ref, and the ref is letting them get away with it. But we can talk about Tibbs. We can talk about Tibbs' stubbornness to not adjust in the series and adjusting too late. But honestly, there are some people that felt, that Tibbs also should have kept the lineup the same. This is the lineup that got us here. Why change it now in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals and that sort of thing? And I noted it, brother. They spoke to Deuce McBride, and I found this very alarming, right? Deuce McBride, and I quote, he said, "Losing this game, we felt very confident in coming in. Overall, this season, it felt like a lot of stuff throughout the year got exposed now." It's very interesting that he says that. And I'm going to repeat the last line. He said, Deuce McBride, it felt like a lot of stuff throughout the year got exposed now. I think that's a two-part thing. Before I give you the floor, let's see. Maybe we might think different. So because now you're seeing, one is you're hearing the rumors now and I always hated this because this always happens either when a player gets traded or when a team gets eliminated. So now they're saying, rumor has it, and this is from The Athletic, that Knicks players and coaches were reportedly frustrated with Karl-Anthony Towns' defensive habits. Publicly, the Knicks players have made vowed comments all season about poor communication causing their inconsistencies. Behind the scenes, coaches expressed frustration with Towns' defensive habits, less concerns with his talent level, and more with his process on that end, meaning the defensive end of the floor. Too often, Towns executed incorrect coverages without communicating why he did it. After it became a theme, players worried Towns didn't grasp the importance of the matter. I think that's one. I think we all knew that Towns is not a defensive stopper. But what Towns is going to bring you is great offense from, he's arguably one of the best shooter out of the center position. But we all know he is a defensive liability. So I think that's one. And what also I think what Deuce meant is the bench. I think with Tibbs' lack of not playing the bench, getting guys in roles, so getting them prepared so when we are in the playoffs, we're not just throwing DeLon Wright to the wall and hoping it sticks. We're not throwing Landry Shamet on the wall and hoping it sticks or running away from it. You know what I mean? So I think those are the two things that Deuce meant when he said it felt like a lot of stuff throughout the year got exposed. That's my thing.
We're on the same money because I did see the same thing. I saw the reports, and as soon as the game was over, the stuff about Cat came out. That the Knicks and coaches were upset about this, and I mean, yes, we knew what we were getting when we get Cat, but you were hoping that everyone else around them. You had OG, you had Mikal, you had Josh Hart, you had people who play defense that you feel like can make up for it, but then you also have Brunson, who isn't the best defender in that lineup. Like, we'll just put it like that. He probably fourth best, if anything. I don't know what to say as far as the Cat stuff, because at the end of the day, you made a trade for him, and it's not like you can just get rid of him because you want to. Like, another team would want to have him, and that's not even, I think, something that they're thinking of at this moment. At this point, it's just how do you readjust? The second part of that goes into my feelings about Coach Tibbs. And I have been probably one of those people who are like, yo, Coach Tibbs is getting fired after this. And you have to call out some of the flaws. You have to call about overplaying your stars. You have to call about underusing your youth. Your people that are supposed to be coming up. Kolek wasn't getting used. You had DeLon Wright not getting used. Shamet, who is a vet, but, the bench, once again, not being used to this extent. And we spoke about this starting the show when we started talking about how Coach doesn't expand his team. He doesn't, it shortens the lineup when it comes to the playoffs. And I feel like the only reason why we ended up seeing DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, and those guys, and sitting Campaign, because I don't know why he was out there, those guys were only used because you were forced to. You were forced to change the lineup. And I get it if you're in the camp of saying that, oh, these are the guys who got us there. But number one, they were tired. They were tired. Number two, if we had not changed the lineup, you would have called that out as well. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say that, oh, the lineup has been this way the whole season, and then we end up losing and we made no adjustments. And then you say, you know what? Why didn't he change it up? I just think that there's a lot of things in the whole script and how everything was worked it out. It's too much ISO heavy. There's too much drop coverage. There's too many poor counters. There's so many things that went wrong with the Knicks coaching strategy and their effort. I still blame the players on this as well. But as far as the Cat situation, that is a loaded issue to deal with when it comes to the defense, because that's not something I feel like that changes. He's not going to become the defensive player of the year next year because of adjustments. So I also one more last thing. Cat needs to remember that you are 7 feet tall. You are 7 feet tall. Stop looking for the foul. I get it. You were getting abused going to the rack. We all know that. But finish. Stop looking for the foul. Get the N1 if anything, or get the points. But stop looking for that foul, because there were too many times that I feel like you were just looking for that instead of actually getting the score. Brother, I'm done right now. You're on mute.
No, I know there's a lot of frustration. I think coming out of that, I think Towns can make a better effort. And I think that's the reason why Minnesota traded for Gobert, because they needed, you know what I mean? They needed Gobert to kind of like make up for his inability to really play defense. And I think that's why a lot of Knicks fans wanted the double big lineup out of Tibbs. Once Mitchell Robinson got things rolling, when Mitch got it, played it, even when Mitch came back, you didn't see it a lot. We didn't see it a lot. And I don't know if that was maybe a tool that Tibbs didn't, maybe a wild card that Tibbs didn't want to throw in the regular season and kind of take teams off for the playoffs, because I know that a lot of coaches do that. A lot of coaches hold things in the holster, and then they reveal it at the playoffs. But Thibodeau got out coached by Rick Carlisle. We've mentioned this, that Rick Carlisle is a championship winning coach. You know what I mean? And Rick Carlisle made adjustments. We said it last week when he brought in the third string center to make it a little rough for Mitchell Robinson because it wasn't working out with Thomas Bryant. He made big time adjustments in Game 6 where Neesmith, when he rolled his ankle, I believe Neesmith rolled his ankle in Game 3, really wasn't the same, couldn't really keep up lateral and be physical with Brunson. He put Nimhart on Brunson in Game 6, and obviously with the combination of the rest letting Nimhart be very aggressive and very physical with Brunson, it worked. It worked. You can tell Brunson looked frustrated at one point. Brunson kind of even headbutted Nimhart, and you can tell, and it's so frustrating to watch that game because in the first half, with everything that was not going right for the Knicks, still turnover in the ball, still making some kind of questionable plays, I felt we were going to win because I'm like, you know what, we're still being able to slow down the pace. And the Knicks let them go on a run, and then Anunoby hits the shot, kind of quiets the Indiana crowd. You go into the half down 4, and I'm like, yo, I really think we're gonna win this game because Indiana, they gave us their best punches, and we weathered that storm, which we knew was gonna happen. This is Game 6. They're trying to close out. They don't want to go in the Garden, and we kind of weathered that storm. But little did I know, Indiana was saving their best punch for the second half because they steamrolled the Knicks in that third quarter. And right now, it is what it is. I think, Indiana is going to the finals. Quick question, brother. What do you we're not going to really cover the finals. I could care less. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to watch the finals. I'm not going to. But quick prediction. And we'll continue with the Knicks, but quick prediction on Pacers, OKC. How long you think the series is going? Who you think is going to win? Not who
OKC.
you want. Not who you want, but like, who do you think is going to win? Let's put a professional cap.
Professional cap. OKC at 6. And it's not because I don't think the Pacers are good. The Pacers are good. At the end of the day, we obviously thought the Knicks were better, but the Pacers are good. But I think OKC is so much better. I think anybody coming out of the West was going to steamroll whoever came out the East, to be honest, had it been us as well. So OKC in 6.
I got to disagree with you on that, where I just thought OKC would have steamrolled. I don't think anybody in the West would have. I felt would have steamrolled any.
Well, I mean, out of the two, the possibility who
got
face.
it. Well, I didn't think the Wolves. I'm gonna be honest. If the Wolves were playing Indiana, I would have probably gave the slight edge on Indiana. I'm saying OKC in a gentleman's sweep, 5 games, because OKC and Indiana is built the same. But OKC's talent is head and shoulders above Indiana. Indiana has depth, OKC has that. You know what I mean? Like, OKC has their strength. Indiana's strength is OKC's strength times 1,000. And as I touched on with a couple people from work, the wild card, and I think who's going to be the finals MVP, it's not going to be SGA. I think it's going to be Jalen Williams.
I agree.
Because I think he's the wild card. I don't think they have anybody that can really match up with Jalen Williams. Neesmith, he still looks hurt. You know what I mean? And I don't think and they're gonna want to put him on SGA because SGA is a big guard. That's the difference. Jalen Brunson is the king, but Jalen Brunson is not 6'5" like SGA. You know what I mean? He's a smaller guard. So Neesmith is going to have to guard SGA, which means now you're going to have Nimhart, a smaller guard, on Jalen Williams. Or maybe you want to put him on Pascal Siakam, but now who guards Chet? You know what I mean? So they're going to have a lot of matchup problems. And then we know how... And Hartenstein killed Indiana on the boards. Indiana's not a good rebounding team. They're going to need a lot of things to go right for them to have a chance to win.
Quick pin before we move. Real quick. That Walker injury, I really hope you get better real soon. That was really nasty. That snap on his ankle,
and it goes to the adjustments. Carlisle did not play that kid the whole entire, I think, postseason. Played him in Game 5. He actually cooked in Game 5. I was watching it with a friend of mine. I'm like, yo, who is this guy? And that's the little adjustments that he made. Now
11
I'll say,
players. 11 players in Game 6.
yeah. The Tibbs thing. I know you mentioned about the Tibbs and the firing thing. This situation mirrors a lot of what the Yankees, right? Everybody wants Aaron Boone out. When the Yankees made the World Series, I said, bro, we're not getting rid of Boone. At the end of the day, he made the World Series. Regardless of how he managed, how he was supposed to, he should have put in Tim Hill instead of Nestor Cortez. Bro, the fact that he got us to the World Series, his job is safe.
Right.
And for the Tibb haters, I hate to break it to you. I think his job is safe. I may not agree with it, but my thing is this. Everybody that wants to fire Tibbs, come with me with a better option. Unfortunately, I don't have a better option. I know people could say Mike Malone, but Mike Malone's coaching style mirrors Tibbs. Mike Malone plays his starters a lot of minutes. Mike Malone doesn't really play young guys. So it's like, all right, who do we get? Now I did see something the other day where there was like suggestions. Johnny Bryan, obviously Johnny Bryan was a Knicks assistant for a few years. He went to be the head assistant in Cleveland this past season. He's a young-minded coach. I even heard like some people mention Mike Brown. I do not want Mike Brown. If we were to get rid of Tibbs, I'm not going to trade off Tibbs for a coach that kind of mirrors his style. But I do think the Knicks. I think the Knicks have, if they're not going to, and we're getting into off-season talk now. If the Knicks want to keep Tibbs, they have to bring in an offensive coordinator style assistant coach. Because I heard this week, I forgot who said it, and I would love to give him credit, but I just forgot who said it, that basically Tom Thibodeau is the Mike D'Antoni of defense. And I'm like, yo, she nailed it. Because that's exactly what Tibbs is. Tibbs relies too much on isolation. There's no really good schemes to his offense. He's just a defensive-minded coach. Like, defense, Tibbs is your guy. Offensively, it's not. The Knicks this past season has had too many situations where out of a timeout, where you're drawing up a play out of a timeout, the Knicks get a turnover. Or it's a possession where the shot clock runs out and you're like, bro, you just called a timeout and this is the play you drew up. So, it's a lot of that with Tibbs. But like I said, I don't think he gets fired. You wanted to make a point, brother? Because I want to talk about the salary caps and things like that. So go ahead, make your point, and then.
Well, the other thing I want to say is just at the end of the day, like there's a lot of things that went. Let's just say things went right for the Knicks, because at the end of the day, that Celtics series could have been a lot tighter had Jason Tatum not been injured. That's something you just have to take advantage of, and the fact that we lost the game without Tatum being on the court, that's something that had to be exposed, because at the end of the day, like. Yeah, we can be happy we sent Boston home, but at the end of the day, that was also a luck. That luck went our way. And the Knicks do have to make some adjustments, right? You think of that offense. You think of what is it that you can bring in this offseason. And everybody's part of the Giannis sweepstakes, so let's just put that out there. But we're going to dismiss it because what do you get for Giannis? It's not like Milwaukee's going to want to take Cat, right? So Milwaukee more likely is the scenario you brought up with the Mavericks, where they may want to go and get that Cooper flag. They want to get something going for them. I'm looking at who's available this offseason as far as like who can you get. Porzingis is available.
My thing is this is why. Well, I'm not saying you, and if it is you, then you apply to this. Why do people want to just change the damn team? Like, this team made the Eastern Conference Finals. This team was 2 wins away from the finals, 6 wins away from achieving the ultimate goal. So let's not act like this team is ass. And like, people want to just, Giannis. What do you know what you're giving up for Giannis? If you were to get him, you're probably going to have to give away Cat. You're probably going to have to give away a Mikal Bridges or Anunoby. Guys, this is not 2K. This is not NBA 2K. Like, monies have to match. You know what I mean? Like I
say this in an aspect, like, I'm not saying blow up the team. In no.
But you're gonna have to
aspect
if you're trying to trade for Giannis.
No. I'm just saying. I'm bringing it up because it is part of the talks that we're gonna hear until what?
Oh,
I believe July.
yeah.
July
we're gonna hear
is
it
when
till
we.
yeah. You're gonna hear it till Giannis ends up on a team.
Right.
Yeah,
July 4th, like that weekend, and it's always beautiful with the NBA because they love to drop news that week.
Yeah, that's the free agency start. Yeah,
I love it, but it's part of the talks that are going to happen. So I'm just bringing it up because it is an aspect that we're going to hear. But what I'm saying is that I'm not saying blow up the team, and I'm also saying I am part of the camp of maybe Tibbs has to go. But as far as the players that are on the court, this is a decision that Dolan has to decide because apparently Leon Rose has confidence that Tibbs staying. But I'm saying there may be adjustments. Maybe there is a player that you can come get. Now, what you get for that player, what you get for that player, I don't know because some of them are free agents. I did mention Porzingis, but Porzingis is a liability in health, so that's something that comes up. There are people that are available, but what do you want to do to get them? So that's what I'm saying. Like there's maybe one or two pieces away that we can help the Knicks move further into the playoffs next year.
The salary cap right now, so let's just put it like this. Players that's coming off the books. Precious Achiuwa, he made $6 million. DeLon Wright's a free agent. Campaign, Landry Shamet are guys, basically the free agents. I can't see any of them coming back. I think Precious doesn't come back. Campaign doesn't come back. I think DeLon Wright. I doubt they get DeLon Wright. Landry Shamet, it might be somebody I think they might consider, but I highly doubt it. So the Knicks cap right now, currently next year, and I'm looking at, I got it on Basketball Reference right now. Mm-hmm. The Knicks salary cap was 140 heading into this year. Was 140. So next year, obviously, it's going to be a little less than that. Let me see. Let me just look it up before. I don't want to just talk out my butt. Knicks projected cap for 2024. Now, and I preface this because the cap is going up. So the NBA cap is going up. So the Knicks right now are committed to $199.8 million. Okay, so this is right. Now the cap is going up to 10%, which means it's 154, and the luxury tax is projected at 187. So obviously the Knicks are over the luxury tax. They're on the first apron. They're going to be over the second apron. So they're going to be limited to what they can do as far as moves. I think the Knicks need to find a way to add a little bit more size to their bench. Remember, you still have Deuce. I think the Knicks need to tweak things. That's what it is, more than the big home run. You know, now obviously if you can get Towns for this is a 2K pipe dream, but you know, you can trade Towns for Giannis, then it's like it's a no-brainer. I'll help Cat Pack, you know. But the Knicks are gonna have to make moves up within the margins to get this team better. Now, we'll get more deep into it, guys, in the summer as Dave and I do a little bit more homework on who's a free agent and all this stuff. You know, we're gonna get heavy into that. But I'm thinking like a guy. You know what I would love on the Knicks, brother, is a guy like a Dorian Finney-Smith, a guy like Highsmith from Miami. Like, I want guys that could play defense, has some size, and could shoot a three when they're open. And I think those are guys, if you got a strong bench, then you can stagger Brunson and Cat's minutes throughout the game. So you don't always have to have them on the floor together. I think another year, Mikal Bridges. A lot of people forget, Cat got traded right before training camp. So this is the first run with this team. Now, I do need to see Mikal Bridges be a little bit better. But that also falls on Tibbs, as you touched on. Mm-hmm. Tibbs has to find a way to get more guys involved. Tibbs has been bailed out a lot by the heroic performances from Jalen Brunson a lot of times. Because we knew if we're in the close game, we can just rely on Brunson to take us away. And that's not that's tough to put on a player throughout the season and throughout the playoffs and all that stuff. So he's got to find a way to be creative with it. So, so the Knicks, like I said, the Knicks cap going into next year is at 199 mil. The luxury tax is going up to 187. Now, Jalen Brunson, doing that deal, Jalen Brunson did help out the Knicks long term. I also think the Knicks have to what is it? Why am I thinking of the words? I'm not groom. It's not groom. Develop guys like Tyler Kolek, guys like Pacome Daddier, Ariel Hukporti. Because we're so restricted on who we can bring in, you have to develop in-house. We touched on it with like a Peyton Pritchard, how the Celtics, how they did it with Hauser, how they did it with Cornette. They developed those guys in-house. The Knicks have to do the same thing. But I'll tell this, Knicks fans, for a little silver lining, keep an eye out for Kevin McCullough Jr. This kid is good. He had an injury in the draft. That's why the Knicks were able to draft him late in the second round. I think he's going to be an important piece from the bench. He's going to be fully healthy going into training camp, and I think that's a player that's going to be implemented within the rotation of the Knicks. And but those guys got to develop. You also would hope that those guys put the work in the summer to get there. So, like I said, guys, we're going to discuss more Knicks stuff as we go. During the off season, as Dave touched on. The NBA offseason is like no other league. like no other league. And we're actually
the NFL competed this last offseason.
The NFL has been good the last couple years. I've always felt like MLB was the best because MLB is just, it's always top guys. But the NBA, man, the NBA with the question marks of Giannis, Kevin Durant, and then the thing about the thing about the NBA is there's always a star that no one's talking about that gets traded. The Knicks did it twice this past offseason with Mikal Bridges and Cat. So a lot could happen. So like I said, guys, we will touch more on offseason moves, what the Knicks should do, what the Knicks can, we'll look into it more and see like what key free agents are available that can obviously fit within the Knicks plan. But at the end of the day, guys, I know it's a sad that the Knicks lost, but at the end of the day, the Knicks won back-to-back. The Knicks had their back-to-back 50-win game season. We were 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. We reached the Eastern Conference Finals the first time in 25 years. This was a special ride. I enjoyed it so much watching it. I'm just a little upset that it was cut short. And then we lost to who we lost to. But, brother, I did get a little joy from Tyrese Halliburton thinking he was going to win Eastern Conference MVP. My man got went like that. Get ready to walk. And then announced Pascal Siakam. My boy was butthurt. So that gave me that gave me a little laugh.
A little silver lining?
It was a little silver lining. Maybe it got a grin out of me. It made me feel a little happy because Saturday was just not a good day. Unless you're a Mets fan, it was not a good day for New York because the Knicks got killed. And the Yankees got their ass handed. And we're going to get into it right now here on the Pinstripes Report.
The Pinstripe Report.
All right, y'all, the Pinstripes Report. This is where we cover the New York Yankees, baby. And the New York Yankees had a good week starting off. Yeah. You know what I mean? They took two. They sweep the Angels. That's what you do. The Angels are not a good team. However, they play the defending champs. They played the Dodgers, and although the first game of this series, and as of our recording, guys, we don't know if the Yankees can salvage a little bit of self-respect and dignity and not get swept. So we don't know that yet. But the Yankees blew the first game after having a good lead. After being up 5-2, it looked very similar to Game 5 of the World Series. They let them get back, and I can't front. The first game started hot. Aaron Judge gets the home run, and then MLB's boy toy Shohei Ohtani comes in. gets the home run, but then the Yankees followed it up. They followed it up with 3 runs in the second to get a run. They get a run in the third, and then that's it. The offense stopped. Max Fried. I don't want to talk bad about Max Fried. He's been dynamite so far this season, brother. But damn, he picked the wrong start to have his first bad start. Right. He just didn't have it, and it's nothing you could do. Like, you can't get mad at that. He pitched 5 innings, 8 hits. He gave up 6 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. A lot of his pitches was up. I got a little knock on MLB though. I don't understand why you put that game on Apple TV. Like, this is the rematch of the World Series, and I read something like, brother, like less than 20% of people have Apple TV.
Right.
So it's like you put such a big marquee game on a streaming network that most people can't watch or don't have. So that was a head scratcher. And then the Dodgers did what they did. The Dodgers are a good team, man. They're a good team. They're the champs for a reason. And then you look at Saturday's game, and and if you're a Knicks and Yankee fan and you're watching the Knicks the Knicks lose, and then you can't even switch to the Yankees and have a little joy because the Yankees got pummeled, and it was like quick, brother. It wasn't even like, okay, we were in it, and no, Dodgers got 4 runs in the first inning, 6 runs in the second inning. So the Yankees were already down 10-0 at the end of the second inning. Right. It was a horrible job. Ultimately, the Dodgers won 18-2. What I didn't get was, and I get it maybe because of the days off, but we're down 18-2, and you got Luke Weaver and you're pitching Devin Williams. I don't understand it.
Devin Williams who doesn't need to be put in that kind of situation already. Like, his confidence already is shot, and you want to go and put him against that lineup. Like,
it doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna overreact though, brother, because it's also, well, obviously it's June 1st, but I mean, we're obviously in June, but it's also May. It's also May. Like, and I said to myself, although Will Warren is somebody we speak highly of, and we like Will Warren ain't getting no start in the playoffs. Let's just put it like that. The lineup that we have now is going to look very different than the lineup that the Yankees will have in October. And let's put it like this. The Yankees aren't the Mets. We don't have to worry about the Dodgers. If we're playing the Dodgers after the series, it's because we both made the World Series. And you know what? I'll sign up for that. We don't have to go through the Dodgers to win it all. Do I think the Dodgers right now constructed is a better team than us? Yeah. And we've said this, brother. We've said this. Yeah, the Yankees are a good team. We don't think they're a championship team. Because I don't think they match up well with the National League. I think the National League has a lot more better teams. And the Yankees are just more of a product of a crappy division, a crappy conference. Now, let's be honest. Boston Red Sox, underachieving. Tampa, yeah, they're okay. But the Orioles, underachieving. Blue Jays, they are who they are. So it's like, I never the Yankees are looking good. The Yankees are rolling. The Yankees are going to make the playoffs. You know what I mean? They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win their division. They're more than likely probably going to finish with the best record in the American League. However, that's not saying much. Maybe the Yankees probably have to worry about the Tigers. And I honestly think the Tigers is more of a product of their division. So I'm not scared of the Tigers. So the Dodgers, this whole series with the Dodgers, yes, it would be nice to kick their ass. It would be nice. They talked a lot of smack in the offseason. However, to me, it's not a big deal because it's May and this is an interleague game, and it is what it is.
Right. I mean, obviously, you want to win those games, and those are bragging rights if you end up, winning these games. Like, all right, cool, we got our look back, but this is, in the grand scheme of the season of this, for the Yankees, this isn't what's going to cost you anything. Like, this isn't something that I'm going to look back at and that 18-2 game, those 2 games we lost to the Dodgers that weekend in May is what cost us this season. No, that's not something I'm looking at. but you want to see, hopefully, with the deadline coming next month, you want to see something happen where we can make sure that we feel a little bit more confident heading into the playoffs, because I feel like we can match up with the best of what the American League has to offer. But like you mentioned, that National League's a different beast. It is a different beast. And you want to see the Yankees make those adjustments. Judge is who he is, and at the end of the day, we're championing him because he is literally probably the best player in baseball, at least in the American League. I can say that. But
no, I would say he's the best player in baseball. I would say.
Yeah,
I would say.
But you need more. You need more. So hopefully, the Yankees make those adjustments, and hopefully they have a strong June. They already showed that they swept the Angels, so great. But I already felt like they were a bad team to begin with.
Yeah.
Let's see how they fare this week coming up.
Yeah, let's get into it, brother. So this week, the Yankees have an off day today, so the Yankees are off on here on Monday. And then they get home. They get a little bit of home cooking. So this is the longest road trip right now that the Yankees have currently been on, and I think it's the longest road trip of the. And I'm just happy to tired of the West. Man, these West Coast games, man, are killing me. And then it's funny, the Mets then have a West Coast trip. We'll get into that, but Dave knows what I'm talking about. These West Coast games are killing me.
Omar's been up late, man. Omar's been up late for putting up these posts and edits, and kudos to you, brother. But I know you're over it,
man. And then the thing that sucks is when they lose, and it's like, oh gosh, it's like, it gets me so. Friday I was so tight. Friday, like I would much rather have a game like Saturday where I know I'm like, bro, I don't even have to download nothing. I don't have to download nothing because we ain't coming back. There's nothing there. But like Friday is like, all right, download, and it's like, oh my God. But let's get into the week ahead, guys. As Tuesday, June 3rd to the 5th, the Yankees have a 3-game set with the Cleveland Guardians. So that's a rematch of the American League Championship Series. And then they follow up. They finish the week with a 3-game set against the Boston Red Sox. And I think this is the latest we've ever played the Red Sox getting into a season. Like, the baseball season's been cooking now for 2 months, and we haven't played the Red Sox yet.
Right.
So, this is going to be an interesting week. I know some Yankee fans are saying this is going to be a tough week for the Yankees. The schedule gets tough. But I'm going to be honest, we always fare well against the Guardians. And we're at home, so 2 out of 3 I'm going with Cleveland. And I'm going 2 out of 3 with the Red Sox. The Red Sox just had a big injury recently with losing Alex Bregman. I know Devers has been cooking. You know what I mean? But they're just underachieving right now. I got us winning 2 out of 3 in both series. We'll bounce back.
Yeah, I got us beating Cleveland. Let me look at this lineup. I'm sorry. So in Cleveland, they got us projected. Rondon starting against Allen, Schmidt against Beebe, or Bibee.
Free.
Yeah. Yep. And
then Freed. We got Freed.
Yep.
Oh
Freed
yeah, that's 2. Oh, we might sweep them.
So
we got Rodon. You said Rodon, Schmidt, and Freed is projected in the Cleveland series. We might sweep them, but it's so hard to sweep a good team in general. Yeah. But I'm sticking with 2 out of 3, but I wouldn't be surprised if we sweep them.
I'm sorry. Side note: tickets as low as $9. Okay. We'll see. I got them winning. I got them winning the series 2 out of 3 against the Guardians, and then the same thing against Boston. Boston has been pretty good this season, but they have like some setbacks that are they got to make some adjustments over there. So yeah, same thing. 2 out of 3 are there, and I think next week is when we're gonna start the bet. I believe
Yeah, that's right. The Knicks season officially over. So yeah, we'll start it next. We'll start it with next week. The predictions.
Which we play Boston again. We play Boston again next week. So something else to know.
Yeah, that is right. I forgot about that. Yeah, damn. You see, the next season's over. Oh man, it's affecting everyone. All right. So yeah, let's see. Let's go Yankees. Bounce back and do your damage. We gotta talk about the Mets though, because the Mets now
Let's go Mets.
They did what we expected from them. Let's get into it on the Amazing Rundown.
The Amazing Rundown. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby. Let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go Mets.
Alrighty, y'all. The Amazing Rundown is where we covered them boys from Queens, and them boys from Queens is doing some damage. We said it. I wanted them to go 6-0, and I did say at worst go 5-1. As of this recording, probably more than likely they're gonna go 5-1 as they're gonna wrap up their final game with the Rockies. But the Mets are doing damage. The Mets won their first game against the White Sox 2-1. That was close. And I did say, I was like, yeah, they might go 5-1 because they might lose like one of those little iffy games and stuff like that. And I thought it was heading towards that direction. But the Mets won 2-1. They followed it up with a 6-4 victory. But then they did lose the third game against the White Sox, but they bounced back with a 4-2 win against the Rockies, and then they beat the Rockies 8-2 on Saturday. And as we touched on, as of this recording, we don't know if they're going to win the third game, but it's highly probably they're going to win the third game. The Mets are rolling. The Mets are playing good right now. They're back in first place. They're tied with the Phillies because the Phillies took over first place because they played a weaker schedule. But now they're starting to play good teams again. The Mets have won 7 of their last 10 games. Like I said, they're tied for first place again. And right now, I know Juan Soto hasn't gotten there yet, but he did homer over the weekend. His at-bats are looking good. He got a nice couple doubles. He got robbed of a double in the Chicago game where, Brett Beatty thought the ball was trapped and he didn't run and kind of robbed Soto. But Francisco Lindor is who I want to talk about. Francisco Lindor he's the engine of the Mets team, and he's cooking right now. He had 2 home runs. I believe it was on the first game of the series with Colorado right now. Francisco Lindor he's the guy. I like Francisco Lindor, and he's setting the tone. He's setting the tone on the top of the lineup because he's a threat to run. He gets on base. He hits for power, and he's just a superstar, man. Just looking at him play the field, he just makes plays look so easy at shortstop. I would love him on my team. Mets, you want Anthony Volpe? But you know what I mean? But he's just the guy that he's setting it up. As we touched on, he was slowing down a little bit, but you can tell this week he's picking it back up. He's batting .283, 12 home runs, 33 RBIs, 10 stolen bases. His OPS is .839. And his last 7 games right now, he's slugging a .571 with a .321 average, 2 home runs, 9 hits, and 28 at-bats. You know what I mean? And
8 stolen bases. Strikeouts. Strikeouts.
8 strikeouts. 8 strikeouts, yeah. But you know what I mean, and that's his last 7 games. If you even want to go back to his last 15 games, and that's what I'm saying because his last 15 games he was batting .224, so he's been hot this week, and they need it right now because as we touched on, and Soto is taking a little bit of time for Juan Soto right now, but Francisco Lindor has been that guy right now.
Yeah, and they do have the schedule's looking nice. I think for them going forward. So we'll see how they go.
Yeah, and shout out to their pitching. Kodai Senga pitched over the weekend. He's been good. Clay Holmes, he's been good. And right now, Kodai Senga got a sub-2 ERA, 1.60 ERA, 59 strikeouts and 62 innings pitched. He's 6-3. Like the Mets, this is a team that now if let's say now they're going to be tested with the Dodgers next week, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I just want to show a little love to these Mets because right now, like we touched on, Clay Holmes, 5-3, 2.98 ERA. They're cooking right now, and Edwin Diaz is looking dominating. Edwin Diaz is looking like he's getting back to his old self, being dominant right now. You look at the last 7 games, he's pitched 7 innings, he's got 11 strikeouts, and the most important thing, 4 walks. And, as a closer, you don't want to put guys on, and he's been able to do that. He has a 0 ERA in the last 7 games. His last 15 games, his ERA is a .57, so it's under 1. You know what I mean? So he's looking dominant in the back end of the bullpen. I know they're getting a lot of production in the back end of the bullpen from Braziban. He's been good. I know Griffin Canning had his one bad start against Colorado, but he's been great. Shout out to Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty has taken the third base job now from Vientos. He's been batting. He's been batting well. You look at his last 7 games: 318 batting average, 7 hits, 5 RBIs, and just 22 at bat. He's slugging 455. So right now the Mets are cooking, and they're doing what we said, brother. They're taking advantage of the schedule, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got to play the teams ahead of you. So let's get into their schedule now, because next week is interesting, because next week they have a tough start of the week, but then it gets easier at the end of the week because they start Monday, so there's no day off. So they got it tonight. Oh God, it's a 10 o'clock game. Oh man, there's no days off here at the Ozone. They got a 4-game set with the Dodgers. All the games are 10 o'clock. All 3 games.
Oh no, Thursdays at 4:10.
Yeah, I know Thursdays at 4:10, but the 3 games are at 10 o'clock. And then it followed by a 3-game set with the Colorado Rockies. So this is going to be an interesting week. But you know what? As we touched on, you play the bad teams, you get into a momentum. So then when you're playing the Dodgers, you're in that momentum. I would say this is going to be this. I'm going to predict it right now. This is going to be the series, the Dodger series that Juan Soto awakens. I think this is going to be the big series that Juan Soto shows why he got the money he got and why the Mets gave him the money he got. However, I do think it's going to be a split. I think it's very tough to win 4-game series, no matter who they play. And because it's the Dodgers, I don't think the Dodgers are going to beat them three times. I don't think the Dodgers will win the series. I think it will be a 2 split. And I do think that they win 2 out of 3 against Colorado. I don't think they sweep Colorado. I think they'll win 2 out of 3. Colorado will find a way to win one of these games. So I got a 2 split with the Dodgers, 2 out of 3 Colorado.
So I had the 2 split, the same thing with the Dodgers, but I have them sweeping the Colorado.
Got it. Okay. Look, honestly, that's not a stretch. You know what I mean? So let's shout out to the Mets. They're doing what they got to do.
Some tough games coming up for the Mets, so you definitely want to win some of these games going up. Against their rivals. So
yeah, they do have some division games coming up after that. I think they have the Nationals after that, and the Nationals are playing some good ball. Although I think they got to 500. And I said that this was a team that I mentioned a few weeks ago. This is a team I think the Mets are gonna have to worry about in the future. I think the Nationals is the team, because I think the Phillies is getting older, and then Atlanta's gonna have to make some adjustments. But the Nationals is the team to look out for. So yeah, go Mets. Honestly, pray on what you got to do. Pray on the week schedule ahead, and you know what I mean. Like, pad up, get fat, do what you got to do. Anything else, brother? You want to talk about the Mets before we move on?
No, let's move it on.
Yeah, let's move on, guys. Go Mets. So we're gonna get into it, guys. It's our favorite segment, and it's some juicy ones. It's quick hits. All right, y'all. This is quick hits. This is where we cover everything around the globe. The hits come at you so quick, you don't see it coming. Brother, now that the Knicks are officially in Cancun, we are in full offseason trade rumors. As this past week, it was reported by Chris Felder that the Cleveland Cavaliers are open to moving Darius Garland and Jared Allen, further reporting that he thinks that there's a framework deal between the Cavs and the Magic that would involve Darius Garland and Jalen Suggs. Brother, would that be a big move if it were to happen?
I think it would. Suggs, I felt like was somebody that the Orlando Magic were missing, especially towards the end going into that playoffs. I think that's a very big move for them. The one I'm more interested about is Jared Allen. I like Jared Allen. I really do. So I'd like to see where he ends up coming into this offseason. How are you feeling about this trade if it was to work out?
Orlando needs some juice in the offense. Darius Garland would be a good pickup for them. However, He's not, he's obviously a more shoot first point guard than facilitate. But Orlando needs some juice in the offense. They need a little bit more offensive help. They outside of Paulo and Wagner. So I think that trade will help both teams because Cleveland needs some dog. Jalen Suggs reminds me a lot of Josh Hart. He's going to give you 110% on the floor. He does the intangibles. And Cleveland already they have scoring with Donovan Mitchell, with Evan Mobley. And, they still have DeAndre Hunter. They still have Max Strus. So they can do well offensively where you can put in a Jalen Suggs that, and he's that guy for them. Jared Allen this is the thing about Jared Allen, brother. He is good. And I like him, but he's soft. He's soft to me. And teams are gonna inquire about him. Teams are gonna, try to get him. But he's just soft. I don't know if I like him that much. So yeah, but let's see. Like as we touched on, the NBA offseason it's its own sitcom. Let's put it at that.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it with basketball. So, ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported this week that he doesn't think the Timberwolves can keep Julius Randle, Naz Reid, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Who do you think from this group the Wolves have to keep?
Some might think it's Julius Randle. I know, he's the bigger name. But I think after his performance, where he did look good against the Warriors, he crapped the bed against OKC. And as we know as Knicks fans, Julius Randle is a very emotional player. You can tell if things are going wrong in the very beginning, that's going to impact his whole demeanor for the game going forward. He's going to require max money. And that's the reason why Minnesota traded Cat, because they don't want to pay that. I think of the three, I'm keeping Alexander Walker. He has the size, he can play defense, and I think he's got an offensive bag if he's giving the opportunity to. And I think he can play really well alongside Ant-Man. I would keep Alexander Walker of the three. I like Naz Reid. He's a stretch big, but I just don't think Naz Reid is a starter. You know what I mean? Like, he's good at what he's going to give you off the bench. I think, he reminds me of like a Bobby Portis. Like, Bobby Portis is great at his role, and Naz Reid is great at his role, but I just don't think it's gonna transcend into like him being a good starter. I just don't believe in that. So I would say Alexander Walker. What about you, brother?
I would say of the three, I would say keep Randle, because who's going to score the basket with Anthony Edwards? Like, that's a big concern for that team as well. So, you have somebody who is the future of the NBA, or already is actually at this point, but he needs someone else with him, and I think Randle at this moment is that guy, unless they make an adjustment later in this offseason. I know fans' favorite is Naz Reid, so that's who they're going to say.
Yeah. Minnesota,
They love him.
That's true. I forgot that. Yeah, they really do. Yeah.
What was it? The event they just had in Minnesota recently, the Naz Reid sign.
Yeah. And like people get his name tattooed, so you're absolutely right. He is beloved in Minnesota.
So I think that's what Minnesota
so
will tell us.
So my question to you is this, though, brother. Are you giving Julius Randle a max? Because you're going to probably have to.
The problem is that everybody gets a max deal. And this is a discussion that you and I have had many times with our other group chat where we talk basketball most of the time. And it's just, this is the league now. People get max money. So
absolutely.
Anybody who acquires Julius is probably going to pay top dollar. Whether it's the max or not, they're going to still end up paying him some money should they want his services. So that's where I'm leaning. Side note, you did mention somebody. Who was it that you said? Another player, Bobby Portis. He's available, I believe, this offseason, so keep an eye on him.
Hey, I wouldn't mind a reunion with Bobby Portis. Zion Williamson now. This is ugly, brother. It's going to get a little ugly. Yeah. These next two ones are going to get ugly. Zion Williamson has been accused of rape and physical abuse in Los Angeles by a Jane Doe claiming to be his former girlfriend. In addition to two specific rape allegations, the New Orleans Pelicans power forward is accused of continuing pattern of abuse and controlling and threatening behavior towards the plaintiff, as detailed in filing provided by Daily Mail by the Jane Doe's attorney. How should the NBA and the New Orleans Pelicans handle this situation? Should he be suspended immediately, or should they wait for the legal process to play out before taking action?
I think that at this moment, the safe thing to do would be to suspend him, right? Let him take care of whatever the court case is, because at the end of the day, these are serious allegations. And the problem with sports in general, this isn't an NBA problem. This is NFL has a bigger problem with this kind of stuff in MLB, is that sometimes these things take too long to play out. And you don't want to let Zion like sit on the bench because of whatever or waste his years. But at the end of the day, this is a very serious matter, and you want to make sure that this is addressed. If he's innocent, great, clear him of everything, and then he can go play. But I think this is an instance where you don't need him on the court. You don't need him on the court being, and the cameras are going to be on him all the time, whether they're talking about it or not during the games or whatever. You just don't need those eyes on Zion during the season coming up. So I would say if you're the NBA, you suspend him. What do you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, I know it's we live in a world where it's like, oh, you're innocent until proven guilty, and however, that's not necessarily the case in public opinion. I'll say this: I think I don't think this is going to be New Orleans' problem, because I think Zion Williamson gets traded in the offseason. You've heard rumors that everyone's available. Which, side note, I would not mind the Knicks trying to get Herb Jones. Now, that would be difficult to get him, but I'm just saying I would probably trade him Mikal Bridges to get a Herb Jones. Let's put it at that. But I think the only problem that's going to be for New Orleans is that trying to find somebody who wants Zion, and then you're taking this mess. Now, I'll say this. We know this because we're on Twitter, and Zion Williamson's actions in previous years doesn't kind of make him look good when you hear these allegations, because, you know what I mean? I'll just say this. I agree with you. I think if he is on the roster heading into training camp of the season, I think New Orleans should do their best to keep him at a low profile, keep him away from trying to answer these questions where it causes a big distraction for your team. But I think best case scenario for New Orleans would be them trading him, and where he's no longer their problem. Let's just put it at that.
Yeah. All right. Once again, more with the serious allegations. So it was announced this past week that John Laurinaitis has been dropped from the Janelle Grant lawsuit against WWE and Vince McMahon. Laurinaitis has agreed to cooperate and as a result provide evidence against McMahon and WWE. How damaging could this testimony be, bro?
Very, very. For people who's not tapped into wrestling as Dave and I, John Laurinaitis is maybe one of Vince McMahon's biggest henchmen. I didn't say right hand, because that would mean you have some sort of respect for the guy. He is a henchman. He is a doger, as they would say in the hood, right? But the number one, brother. The number one. And then you saw in the allegations that he did partake in a lot of the alleged foolery that Vince McMahon was doing with Janelle Grant. And the fact that, and he was up for some serious weight, you know what I mean? And the fact that he's agreed to cooperate tells me that, one, he obviously snitching, and because he knows a lot. He knows a lot that's going to impact this case. All I'm saying, though, is this. In that reporting, it said evidence against McMahon and WWE. If it ends up coming out that more people were involved, this is not a good look for WWE. And this is a major win for the prosecuting team because, like I said, John Laurinaitis has been Vince's number one henchman. He's been around. He's seen a lot. He's done it all with Vince McMahon. He knows a lot. This is not good for Vince McMahon and WWE.
I agree. This is not, this is not something you want to see if you are someone who is on the WWE side of things. As far as their corporate and all that stuff, this is not what you want to see. as a fan, like, we have no play in this because at the end of the day, this is more so just we're spectators into this whole thing. But as far as WWE corporate and all that world, like, this is not what you want to see. This is definitely damaging to your image, because there's going to be a lot of other people pulled into this that you may not have even thought of. So just hope you've been a good person. Brother, before we move on, because I know there is another topic, we did get some breaking news at the time of this,
Are you reading? Are you about to say what I'm reading right now?
Yeah.
No, I'll be honest. We have not made this up. I'm going to see if it's the same thing. Go ahead.
So at the time of this recording, we received a text message, and it is a Twitter post. And as of right now, Ron Killings, also known as R-Truth.
I haven't seen the text. I'm looking at it on Twitter right now.
Yeah, he received he posted something saying, "I'm sorry to inform you all, I got released from WWE. I want to thank WWE for the ride, but mostly I want to thank each and every one of you who was along for the ride. Thank you for all the love, support, and appreciation you have given me for over the years. Thank you." Now, following up after that, we did receive a post from Sean Rossap of Fightful, who said that the R-Truth tweet is accurate and not a hack or accident. He will be leaving WWE when his deal expires. Now, this week in our group chat, you and I have discussed a lot of like things that may not be the right thing that's happening with WWE. And one of the things that have come under fire is like the treatment of black stars. And this is sometimes there are people who will not want to hear this argument because it's more so why does race have to be a part of it? But sometimes things are so heir apparent that it's just like, R-Truth is one of those guys that you there's no way you could hate R-Truth. And, you gave him his moment under the sun with title match against John Cena. But this is just more so writing on the wall. Like, it doesn't look good for the way that WWE handles their black stars. Your thoughts, bro?
As was it Joey that wrote it in the chat? Triple H ain't beating them allegations.
No.
He's not beating those allegations. And it was Wells, my bad. And the timing couldn't be any worse. When you have, the interview that you had the interview with MVP, where he came out and said he doesn't respect Triple H because of the treatment of, African Americans and how he books African Americans. And you don't beat these allegations when you release a guy like R-Truth, who's been very prominent in TV. So it's not like he's been sitting in catering, as you touched on. He's always had a role. You know what I mean? I would say this as a wrestling fan, and I've seen R-Truth, Ron Killings, K-Quick, those are by the names he went by. He was the guy, bro, in TNA, and obviously he portrayed this goofy character in WWE, for the last, years and stuff in his run. I hope he does get an opportunity, whether it be in AEW or whether it be in TNA, not to get like a big serious run, but to be that gangster Ron Killings that he was prior. But it's very surprising to see, but not surprising because WWE, let's just put it like this. We know who they back and we know who they support. So let's just put it like that. They ain't beating those allegations, I'll say that. And you know what? WWE's on my crap list. I'm going off the script, brother. I'm going off the script right now. I'm going off the script. I haven't done it in a long time. Dave don't even know I'm doing this right now. I'm going off the script. WWE, you dead to me. You're dead to me. You are dead to me. And if you are a diehard Knicks fan, you are a New Yorker, WWE should be dead to you. WWE, the minute Triple H was already rooting for them with Pat McAfee, who's probably one of the most overrated announcers of all time, probably one of the most overrated personalities of all time. I'll just say that. He can go to hell. Sorry, Lord, forgive me for saying that, but he could go over there. But WWE releases a T-shirt of Tyrese Halliburton doing the choke sign. MSG, don't allow WWE to run shows in your building. Or you know what? Give them a triple tariff tax or whatever. Tax the crap out of them. New Yorkers, I want to see AEW's numbers go up because we should boycott WWE. Boycott it. If you call yourself a Jalen Brunson fan, boycott him. You call yourself a Knicks fan? Boycott him. You go a New Yorker? Boycott him. You hate Indiana? Boycott him. How you come up with this shirt and you want to, you come, and you want to be running in our building? You going to flex Indiana? They dead to me. They dead to me. They dead to me. No. They Shawn Michaels dead to me.
Ooh.
WWE Shawn Michaels dead to me.
Ooh.
And you know what's funny? I watched SmackDown for the first time in a while on Friday. That show was ass. You got a heel John Cena that's not a heel. You got Cody Rhodes. Let's be honest. He's getting stale. You got a faction that you hope becomes Evolution, but ain't none of them champs. WWE is dead to me.
Brother, let's just bring it in.
It's supposed to be quick hits.
This is supposed to be quick hits, and
let's wrap it up.
I feel your sentiment against WWE, but brother, we gotta move it on. We got a script to follow.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
let's go ahead and just cover this last news.
Let's wrap it up.
Let me throw this to you real quick. So lastly, NBC has made an offer for MLB to take over the Sunday Night Baseball and the rest of the ESPN's baseball inventory starting next season. Should MLB take this deal?
Oh yeah, they should. Oh yeah, NBC covered baseball in the '90s, and I miss it. I miss like Bob. I know Yankee fans are not fans of Bob Costas. He got a lot of crap last year how he covered the Yankees in the playoffs, but I miss it on NBC. NBC, their production with the NFL, amazing. They're gonna get the NBA next year. That's gonna be amazing. Why not? ESPN has done nothing for the MLB. ESPN shows no love to the MLB. So, they terminated their contract early. MLB decided, we're not just this ugly duckling. We're going to settle for your mediocrity and your pay cut of what ESPN was trying to do. I would take the NBC offer. It's more eyeballs, you know what I mean? And I would take the deal. What about you?
I would agree. ESPN has not shown that MLB is a priority for them, and it's not just like what games they post; it's also their coverage of it during their millions of shows that they have during the day that they don't cover baseball as much. I remember seeing the World Series was a footnote in First Take after it had taken place last year. So I'm completely over ESPN and MLB coverage. So NBC is the right place to move.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. All right. So, guys, we cannot wrap up a show without sharing you guys the highlight of the week.
He's on fire!
All right, y'all. Highlight of the week goes out to Washington Nationals outfielder Dalen Lyle, as Dalen Lyle, in a 6-6 game, keeps it tied with robbing a home run from the Arizona Diamondbacks. That was a great catch. Runs into the wall, puts his body out on the line, and it's nothing better than hitting a home run, but I think something close to that has got to be robbing a home run. And he legit robbed a home run. It wasn't like one of those plays where it's right in front of the wall. It's like a small little... No, he literally gets up, extends where that ball was going out, takes it back on the field. Shout outs to Dalen Lyle. You probably didn't know who he was because we didn't know who he was until he made this catch. But he's the recipient of the highlight of the week, brother.
Yeah, this is a good one, and I'll put it on a replay real quick before we go.
Yeah. So, guys, I don't know, brother, if you got this text message Saturday. We got a text message. I got a text message from the analytics from YouTube. And they sent us a message that your viewing hours are going up and we are at a good pace. Something like that. Very encouraging words from YouTube. So we want to thank you guys for making that happen, guys. As I said last week, and Dave touched on it as well, this channel is growing. And we're seeing it in our views. We're seeing it in the subscribers. And we're seeing it with people sharing our stuff. And we appreciate that so much. This is how you guys can help the channel grow. And we just continue to ask for your support And by doing so, that's liking this video, that's subscribing to the channel, and that's also sharing it with your friends. As Dave touched on, you're subscribed, but you can get a subscriber. You can touch your friends on it. You can get into it. Unfortunately, the Knicks season is over, so now we're going to be tapping more into baseball. So if you know your baseball fans, you know people who love baseball, hey, share our stuff. Share our stuff so they can subscribe and help the channel. Guys, follow us on all our platforms. We are available on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and Twitter. This is where you get a lot of our daily stuff. And man, Dave and I were going to go live if we would have won Game 7. Oh, it would have been so much fun. But we will be doing that. Tap in. This is where, you get a lot of our daily news on, maybe episode changes, episode time slots, and news on breaking news. And it's going to be, the work never stops. With the Knicks being the offseason, there's going to be a lot of rumors that we will be sharing with you guys and reporting. So we thank you guys for doing that. We thank you guys for your continuous support. Although the Knicks season is over, it's never over here at the Ozone, because we'll be back next week bringing that fire. It's been real.
Yeah.
Peace.
This is more than a podcast. It's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right. Welcome to the Ozone.